Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And I have this great team that God has provided me that I always like to introduce. First of all, my faithful assistant, Faith, who's actually been my assistant since the day she was born. Her dad would come work on the soundboard when she was like 3 weeks old, and he'd have her in one arm and work the soundboard with the other arm. And when she was old enough to crawl, she crawled up on the stage, and I just kind of left her there because I figure, she acted like she belonged there. So I just step over her because I used to roam around when I talked. And then we would put her on the podium for the announcements, and I think people paid more attention because she was up there. And then when she was older, she became an usher and would hand out affirmation cards like we used to every Sunday. And so, her dad was a tow truck driver, and he would do these out-of-town tows, and he would drop the girls at my house. And I'm a project person. I always have projects going on. And so I put the girls to work, and I saw what she was capable of. So when she was 14 and a half and said, I want a real job this year, I said, okay. And I hired her for my ozone business. And then when we went live during the pandemic, I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? She goes, yeah. So we're doing that now. So she's been with me all of her life, and she's raised like 6 blocks away from my house and spent a lot of time at my house, really. Still does. She spends a lot of time now that Lynn's gone. She's also our soloist, and today she's going to be singing Lighten Up by Karen Drucker, which I think we could all lighten up. I think it's a good time to lighten up. But she's the one behind the scenes that does all the work, so I can just speak. For instance, we ask that you say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us, because when we're in a facility, I can look out at the shining faces beaming back at me. But here I get a number. I don't even get names or anything. So she's the one that answers you as me and answers any questions that you might have. And if I always look back later and see, there's only been like twice in 4 years that I've had to add something. She knows me better than I know myself. So she's pretty good at answering on my behalf. She's my other half of my brain, as we say. What do you need? You need to get down? Okay, you go. You go. Go wherever you need to go. Okay. So thank you for being here, Faith. I love you. And then there is the wise and powerful Oz, my partner in crime, who was my first baby practitioner, meaning he took all of his training with me starting in 1998. And graduated as my practitioner, the first practitioner in our church, and was our board president for many years. Then he moved off to Florida, and we were unable to utilize his services as a practitioner of the day. So now that he can join us from Florida via this live stream, I have him as my practitioner of the day again. So he's going to be doing our invocation and our benediction, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle, and I'll tell you more about that in a little while. But thank you for being here, Oz. I love you. All right. And then I always like to introduce the adjunct music team that we have. We have Tina Giuffre, who she doesn't appear very often, but she does. She sang in our church for years and years and really needed a break. So that's when Faith stepped up. But she does come for special events and sing for us. And then we have Karen Drucker and Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, who without them, we couldn't do a Sunday service that includes music. So we really appreciate them. Thank you so much, ladies. All right. And today's topic is Lighten Up. I really think we need it, honestly. I know I do, and I know Faith does. So I'm assuming everyone else does too. All right. And there's a watch party button. If you would like to click on that watch party button and invite all your friends, it's a great way for them to see what kind of service they can expect on a Sunday morning. And it gives you an opportunity to chat back and forth with them if they have any questions, because it's private. So click on that watch party button and invite all your friends. I invite you now, whether it's in real time or later on, to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God, always here, always present, eternal and omnipotent. Knowing that the universe exists, we declare the universe to be the body of God, and the process of the universe continuing to move forward into the future is the presence of God animating and acting through the creation. We know that this is all one great thing, greater than we could conceive of, and we know that this is a good thing. That same energy that runs through the mountain stream and spins the planets and creates eclipses every 6 months, every 19 years. We know that these clockwork type mechanisms are controlled by that one force. We know that the intimate, personal, cellular activity within our own beings runs automatically through that one force. We know that the interactions of the environment here on this planet, all perfectly balanced and running in order, are manifestations of that one force of God. And how much more so for each of us as we acknowledge his presence in our churches, synagogues, temples, teepees, wherever God is acknowledged, God's presence is there and flourishes and manifests even more so. For that manifestation and that lightening up, I give great thanks, and I let these things be so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. So this next song is one that Reverend Fairy Lane Silver wrote when she was in her practitioner training. And it's a great way to remember that we are all connected to all of life. We are all one.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one.
Yes, we are all one in it. Excuse me. Don't forget to say hi, hello, good morning, however you'd like to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see shining faces beaming back at me. Here I get a number. I don't even get names. So whether you're here in real time or later on, just let me know that you stopped by saying hello or good morning or hi. Also, if you like something that you hear, whether that's something I say or Faith sings or Oz prays, by all means, use that thumbs up. And if you love something, make sure and send us hearts because we love to get love. If something strikes you as really powerful, whether it's something I say or the song or whatever it is, use that wow, but it's a great way for us to receive your feedback. Excuse me. It lets us know that we are on track. And so I appreciate it if you would do that. All right. Without further ado, here is Faith singing Lighten Up by Karen Drucker.
Thank you. I was walking down the street, I was feeling mighty fine, till I got a glimpse in the window of my behind. There was a jiggle and a wiggle that I'd never seen before, and as I looked a little closer, oh my God, I found more. I freaked out and I shrieked, well, this has just ruined my day. When I hear a voice inside me say, lighten up, don't take it so seriously, lighten up, trust the mystery, lighten up, it doesn't matter anyway, just enjoy your life and get out of your way, lighten up. Now I'm headed to a party to meet my friends. I've got an outfit that's tonight for honey. This is just living end. But as I scope out the scene, it is obvious to me that the money at this party is simply obscene. They're talking about their mansions, their yachts, and dropping names. And in an instant I feel unworthy, small and ashamed. But as I tried to make a beeline, slip out the back door, I heard that voice inside me saying once more, lighten up, don't take it so seriously, lighten up, trust the mystery, lighten up, it doesn't matter anyway, just enjoy your life and get out of your way, lighten up. Worrying and judging, what good does it do when you compare yourself to me and I compare myself to you? This disease to please has just got to go. When I love myself, that's all I need to know. I'm looking in the mirror, a new wrinkle has appeared. Do I curse? Do I stress? This is the thing I most fear. But when I remember my new mantra, and I soon realize that I am perfect, even with wrinkles and cellulite thighs. I don't have to change a thing, struggle or try, because my beauty comes from deep inside. I know. Don't seem so seriously, I know. Trust the mystery, I know. It doesn't matter anyway. Don't wanna enjoy my life and get out of my way, I know. Take it seriously, I know. Trust the mystery, I know. It doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy my life and get everywhere. I know. Oh, I'm just gonna give myself a break. I know. It feels so good to lighten up.
Couldn't find the button. I don't know where the little dog went, so I can clap. Ha 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 ha. Oh. The small joys in life, right?
Right.
Thank you, Faith. Goodness gracious. So I'm taking today's cue from my friend Reverend David Bruner, who likes to do Dr. Seuss. He likes to read Dr. Seuss to his congregation. And the first time I did it, I felt a little strange doing it. But when we're kids, we don't really get the message. When we're adults, if we read the stories back, all of a sudden the message becomes very, very clear. And there always is a message in all of Dr. Seuss's stuff. So today I'm going to be reading Gertrude McFuzz. There once was a girl bird named Gertrude McFuzz, and she had the smallest plain tail ever was. One droopy droop feather, that's all that she had. And oh, that one feather made Gertrude so sad. She curled it, she dyed it, she gave it a puff. She decked it with flowers, but it wasn't enough. For no matter what, it was just what it was, a tail that simply wasn't meant to catch the eye of an elephant. The one feather tail of Miss Gertrude McFuzz. For there was another young bird that she knew, a fancy young birdie named La-la-le-loo. And instead of one feather behind, she had two. Poor Gertrude. Whenever she happened to spy Miss La-la-la-loo flying by in the sky, she got very jealous. She frowned and she pouted. Then one day she got awfully mad and she shouted, "This just isn't fair. I have one, she has two. I must have a tail just like La-la-le-loo." Oops. Sorry, I lost my place here. So she flew to her uncle, a doctor named Drake, whose office was high in a tree by the lake. And she cried, "Uncle Doctor, oh please, do you know of some kind of pill that will make my tail grow?" "Tut, tut," said the doctor, "such talk, how absurd. Your tail is just right for your kind of bird." Then Gertrude had tantrums. She raised such a din that finally her uncle, the doctor, gave in. And he told her just where she could find such a pill, on a pillberry vine on the top of a hill. "Oh, thank you," chirped Gertrude McFuzz, and she went straight to the hill where the pillberry grew. Yes, there was the vine, and as soon as she saw it, she plucked off a berry and she started to gnaw it. It tasted just awful, almost made her sick. She wanted that tail, so she swallowed it quick. She felt something happen. She felt a small twitch, as if she'd been tapped down behind by a switch. And Gertrude looked around and she cheered. It was true. Two feathers, exactly like La-la-le-loo. Then she got an idea. "I know what I'll do. I'll grow a tail better than La-la-le-loo. Those pills that grow feathers are working just fine," so nibbled another one off the vine. She felt a new twitch, and then Gertrude yelled, "Whee! Miss La-la-le-loo has only two. I have three. When La-la-le-loo sees this beautiful stuff, she'll fall right down on her face, sure enough. I'll show her who's perfect, I certainly will. Well, I'll make my tail even prettier still." She snatched up those berries that grew on that vine. She gobbled down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And she didn't stop eating, Miss Gertrude McFuzz, until she'd eaten 3 dozen, and that's all there was. Then the feathers popped out with a zing and a zang. They blossomed like flowers that bloom in the spring. All fit for a queen, what a sight to behold. They sparkled like diamonds and gumdrops and gold. Like spaghetti, like satin, like lace, they burst out like rockets all over the place. They waved in the air and they swished in the breeze, and some were as long as the branches on the trees. And still they kept growing. They popped and they popped until long about sundown they finally stopped. "And now," giggled Gertrude, "the next thing to do is to fly straight home and show La-la-le-loo. And when Lala sees these, why, her face will get red and she'll let out a scream and fall right down dead." She spread out her wings to take off the ground, but with all those feathers, she weighed 90 pounds. She yanked and she pulled and she let out a squawk, but that bird couldn't fly, couldn't run, couldn't walk. All through the night she was stuck on that hill, and Gertrude McFuzz might be stuck up there still if her good Uncle Drake hadn't heard the girl yell. He rushed to her rescue and brought along help. To lift Gertrude up almost broke all their beaks, and to fly her back home it took almost 2 weeks. And then it took almost another week more to pull out those feathers. My, Gertrude was sore. And finally, when all the pulling was done, Gertrude behind her just had one. That one little feather she had as a starter, but now that's enough because she's smarter. One of the reasons I like this particular Dr. Seuss is because it has so many lessons for us as adults. The first one being not being envious of another person. It's always interesting when we look at other people's lives and we see perfection and we see our lives as less than perfect, and we start lusting after their perfect experience that we think we see, right? I learned this lesson really early on when I was in the school ministry. Actually, I had a friend who I looked at her relationship with her husband and I thought, God, they have such a perfect relationship. I wish my relationship with my husband was that good. Well, they invited me over for dinner one night. And I went, and much to my dismay, the entire dinner, all she did was pick at him and complain and put him down. And I thought, wow, I had no clue about that. And that's really what it's like. I mean, just look at, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? If you look at my grass close up, it looks green. It does, but it has, in the blades of grass, it has crabgrass and it has clover and it has all these imperfections in it, and it's real lumpy. I look across the street and my neighbor's yard is so beautiful. It looks pristine. And one time I was over at his house and I looked down and I realized that he has the same crabgrass, the same lumpiness, and the same clover that I do. But from far away, it looks perfect. Never mind the fact that he, mows it 4 times a week. But but it always looks so perfect from far away. And that's what happens when we get envious. Is we don't see those imperfections in life that other people are experiencing. From where we stand, their life looks absolutely perfect, whether that's love or money. Have you ever wished that you had as much money as someone else? Only to come to find out that we could have whatever we want. I mean, it's up to us if we want to do the work. Like, I will tell you, I have gone into the gym and I've looked at somebody's body and said, oh, God, I wish I had a body like that. But the truth is that I'm not willing to do the work to get that kind of body. I just don't have that kind of dedication. The same thing with money, And money isn't about just getting a paycheck. Money is about working on your belief systems and, anything that's preventing you from making money. Then you need to take classes to learn how to invest that money so it can grow. And then the terrible B word, you have to budget. And so anyone that has a lot of money has gone through that whole process. And so if you have the dedication to do that, yes, you can have the same amount of money that someone else has. It's all in what you prize and what the price is for you. So if you're not willing to pay the price, you're not going to get the prize, right? But we're all in control of that. Perfect health is another one. Like, I have friends who eat just very, they control every little bite of food that goes in their mouth. It has to be healthy. It has to, whatever. And I'm not putting them down for that. God bless them. They have the dedication to do that. They spend all this time in the gym. They walk and they're always physically active. And that's wonderful for them. But I don't have that kind of dedication. So I have to learn to accept my body as it is instead of doing all of that. But it's good to know that we're in control of that, right? We try to force everything. We try to tell God how to do things. And in that forcing, we create a bigger mess than what we have. So I know that this body that was created by my creator is perfect just the way it is, right? The thing is that we start looking at all the flaws, and that's where we get caught up. We either come out short or we come up long whenever we compare ourselves to other people. And so if we come out long, that means we're better than someone else. Well, that's just not true. Nobody's better. Nobody's good. Nobody's bad. It just is. And so if I come up short, then I'm always lusting for whatever it is that they have. And the truth is that we're all equal, that we all have the same opportunities to grow if we choose. And so when I look at prosperity as a perfect example, I look at what's going on in the inside instead of what's on the outside, because here's a perfect example. Like I am guided to the right circumstance for, when I decided that I really wanted to lose weight, I got this book and it was all about HCG. And the thing was, you had to go to Germany and it cost $10,000. And I thought, oof, I don't have that money right now. And so I put the book away and I didn't really think about it anymore. And months later, I was watching, while I was sitting there working, and I always have the TV on for company. And this commercial came on about HCG diet being offered by this chiropractor in Pueblo. So I thought, okay, I'll call. And I called, and it was only like $800. And I said, well, I can afford to do that. And so I lost the weight that I wanted to. But it was something that I was guided and led to. Anytime I've tried to force anything, anytime I've tried to use my willpower to overcome, it hasn't worked out. Like everybody who does these, New Year's resolutions, how long do those last? A lot of times, just a couple days, maybe a week or two. And that's because we're trying to use our will to force something. So that's the next lesson here, is that you can't force anything. You have to understand that you have to work on the inside first. And once you work on the inside, the outward actions just sort of pop into place. And so, unfortunately, we human doings like to try and force things. Like, we want a relationship. So what do? I want that guy, or I want that girl. Instead of working on being in a relationship where I feel loved, we get focused on the person, right? And truly, if we're working from the inside out, if we are working on the belief systems that keep us from finding that perfect person, then when we work on that, we wind up with the perfect person just walking into our life. For instance, when I first met Lynn, I had decided that I liked being alone, that I was better off alone, and I enjoyed my own company. And poof, here comes this guy. And he wasn't necessarily my type, but we hit it off. And it was because I was working from the inside out. I wasn't trying to force, that guy. And my health is another one, because I look at my friends who are so dedicated to their health, and I think that's wonderful, but I just don't have that same dedication. And yet I do know that there is a divine imprint, blueprint, that my body can conform to. And so I focus my attention on that divine blueprint being the truth of who I am. And so instead of forcing myself to go to the gym and forcing myself to eat certain foods and forcing myself to go to the doctor and do certain things, what I do instead is I wait for that inspiration to hit, because I have worked on the inside. And so things just pop into my life. And the other lesson I think from all of this is being grateful for what you do have instead of focused on what you don't have. For instance, trees. I'm always talking about my trees. I love my trees. But I really had to understand how it all works. Because if I had gone out and said, I want a tree here, a tree here, a tree here, whatever, it wouldn't have turned out as nicely as it did. And I used to be a sun worshiper. I mean, I still am to a certain extent. My body just can't take the heat anymore. And so I've spent more of my time really wanting to be in the shade. And so I had this front porch that the sun just baked all the time. I could go out there in the morning and it was fine. But as it got later in the day, it was so hot on that porch, I just couldn't stand it anymore. So I started thinking about trees and, what I wanted to do for a tree. So we go to this nursery and we're driving in this golf cart. And the guy is saying, well, what about that tree? Nope, that's not the one. What about that tree? Because I didn't know what kind of tree I wanted. I'm like, no, I don't. I just wanted a fast growing tree. That's all I cared about. He's like, what about this one? Nope, not that one. And we pulled up into this one aisle and I went, wait, stop. And I think the guy thought I was crazy. I jump out of the golf cart. I go running up to this tree. And I basically was hugging this tree because I felt the vibration of it and it felt comfortable. I don't have any other way to describe it. It just felt like my tree. So we buy this tree, we put it in the yard. It is the happiest tree I've ever seen in my life. And I feel like I was divinely guided to that tree, because when I'm willing to give up control, when I'm willing to be grateful for what I already have and willing to give up control, then I am presented with the perfect circumstances. So this tree obviously was the perfect circumstance. And as the trees have grown, I sit on my porch and now there's this beautiful canopy, which I love. My neighbor hates, but I love this canopy. There's even one branch that goes clear up over across the porch. And what's so cool about that for me is, I lost a bird to a predator. And we have these red-tailed hawks that are in the neighborhood. And now that I have a Chihuahua, I have to be doubly aware. But this one branch that goes over like that just goes right over the PlayStation that I put my bird on. And what I realized one day when I was sitting out there is how perfectly God arranged everything. Now, it's not that the red-tailed hawk can't get to him, but because there's so much like a basket of branches around him, it's a lot more difficult for the bird to get to him. And by the time it winds its way through all the branches, I have time to grab him and keep him safe. But if I had designed it myself, if I had sat there and said, okay, I'm going to put this tree here so the branch grows over, it never would have happened that way. And so another lesson is giving up that control. Letting God fill in the blanks. Like we are the cookie cutters. We design the cookie cutter and we allow God to fill in the dough so that it becomes what the finished product we want it to be. But we have to be willing to let nature take its course, so to speak. Have you ever noticed that when a plant, whether that's a tree or a flower, chooses a place to grow, it is so prolific and it grows so fast and it's so healthy. When we decide, it doesn't always happen that way. I have this thing about privacy, and my corner garden, I planted a whole bunch of lilac bushes thinking that would give me some privacy from my neighbors being able to see what's going on my porch. And they just wouldn't grow there. I mean, no matter what we did, we could not get them to bush out. They would grow up and they'd be all spindly and very unhappy. So we dug them up and we put them over by the porch along the driveway. They have been the happiest there, and they bush out and they're just beautiful. And so one day I noticed that there's this mulberry bush right where it provides privacy. Now, not many people around me have mulberry bushes. And of course, there is a logical explanation. The birds have gone somewhere that someone had a mulberry bush. They ate the seeds and they pooped out the seeds, right? And it just happened to be over my garden that happened. But even though I know the logic behind it, what I really understand is that it was destined to be in that spot because God saw a bigger picture than I did about my privacy, that this mulberry bush would be a perfect setting for that. We also had on the alongside of our house, we had aspen trees. For the longest time, we had aspen trees, and they have a lifespan of, I think, 25 years, something like that. And they got to the end of their lifespan, so we had to cut them down. And I grieved so hard because they were such beautiful trees. And then one day I looked out, and right in the backyard where my hot tub was this aspen tree growing up. Now, I wouldn't have put it there, but it had a water source, obviously. And it grew up healthy and happy, and it was there for like 10 years. It destroyed the foundation that we had the hot tub on because the roots came up underneath it. But it was very happy there, and I wouldn't have planted one there. I don't know anybody that would, but it was so happy and so healthy that I just couldn't cut it down. Because what I realized is that God was in the creation of all of this. So God created a perfect space for this aspen tree. Another one of my trees is a Royal Empress tree. And when it came to me, I bought it. It was just a stick with a root ball. And even though I knew what it was supposed to look like, I went ahead and planted it, but it wasn't very pretty for many years. And about 10 years in, something like that, it finally blossomed. Of course, I was in Florida, so I didn't get to see it. But the reason I bought the tree is it has these little purple blooms, and then they're in a bunch, so they look from afar like a huge, big purple flower. And every time it's bloomed like 3 times total, I think. Every time it's bloomed, I'm out of town and I don't see it. The blooms only last a week. My neighbor never gets pictures of it, but she gets to see it. And what's funny about that, the Royal Empress tree grows in the jungle like a weed. And they use it for dowries in China because it's a hard wood, and so it's perfect for the dowry chest. But in order to ship it to the United States, they have to sterilize it so it doesn't grow like a weed here. And so supposedly all of these plants that come over here are sterilized so they won't propagate, right? So lo and behold, about 13 years in, I look over, and on the opposite side of my garden is another stick tree growing, another Royal Empress tree. And that one is much happier than the first one was. I've never seen it bloom yet. It's probably been 5 years. I think it takes about 10 years for them to bloom here. They grow really well in the South, and they bloom all the time in the South, but we hardly ever get them here. And so even though it was sterilized, apparently it propagated in my garden. Again, a God thing, which makes a lot of sense when you realize that what we're made of is God stuff, and what the trees are made of is God stuff. And so giving way to that, not trying to control everything, but giving way to that and understanding the process that God placed it there, you realize that it is perfect right where it is. And so you have to have an appreciation for that, as well as giving up control of that to see what you need to see with that. So this week, I really want us to focus in on those 3 lessons. Maybe it's 4 lessons. I can't remember. I've lost track now. One is not to be envious of another person because you don't know what that's really like. 2 is to give up trying to control things and be thankful is the 3rd. But most of all, being appreciative of who and what we are means more than just sitting around waiting for trees to pop up. Being appreciative of this body. I mean, think about all it takes for this body to take in food and process that food and then output something else. You know, it's amazing that our bodies do what they do. And when you think about that in relation to plants, for example, we give off carbon dioxide. The plants take in the carbon dioxide and give us oxygen in return. And so this perfect world created by God out of God's stuff is actually very beautiful. But we are always looking for the flaws in everything. I don't know how many of you stand in front of the mirror and go, oh, look at the wrinkles. Oh, I need to raise my eyebrows. Or, oh, my hair just looks so awful these days. You know, most of us do that, and we pick ourselves apart. When in fact, we need to focus our appreciation on this body that God created, how perfectly it works in every situation. Now, you might say, well, you know, I have an illness, so it's not working perfect in every situation. It actually is. Because the lesson that we're here to get is to go within and find the beliefs that are constructing a life that we really don't appreciate. And focusing our attention on that which we do appreciate will bring forth a better life. So this week, I'd like you to do with me is look in the mirror and find one thing. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just find one thing that you can appreciate about this body that God created that is you. Because that's the thing that is going to bring forth the better life that we want to have. Don't try to control God. Give up that idea that you have to control God and tell God how to do things and where to put things and who to select for us or how money has to come in. You know, so many people get on this thing about the lottery is the only way. I'm going to share a little story. I had a phone call from a lady probably about 2 weeks ago, and I prayed for her health. And she called back the other night and she said, I just wanted to let you know that I feel better, and I'm so glad that you did that. And I have another request. And I'm like, okay. And she said, I got messed over by some people and I want them to pay me back. And I said, well, I'm happy to pray for you to be abundant or prosperous. And she said, no, that's not it. I want them to pay me back. And I said, well, I can't pray for someone else to do something specific like that. But what I can pray for is for you to, excuse me, what's yours to come back to you. No, I don't want that. I want them to pay me back. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot control another person's actions. We all have free will. And unless they're willing to do that, it's not going to happen. And she said, well, my dad had an alcohol problem and my mom prayed for him to get better, and he did. And I said, that's wonderful. But I personally refuse to pray for something like that because we all have free will. And I said, probably why it worked is because your dad was ready to give up the alcohol and just needed a little push. But I can't pray for someone without their permission to make them do anything. And I think that's what we get caught up with. She eventually said, I need to find someone else that can pray for that. And I said, that's great. You do that. But I think it's important for us to note that we can't force God to do anything, and we can't force other individuals to do anything. We can't change another person. We can only change ourselves. And in our willingness to give up that illusion of control and our willingness to stay present in the moment and be grateful for that which we have, in that process is the life we really want. It's not the thing that we're praying for. It's the feeling behind the thing. I know I said that last week, and that's really true. That if I'm praying for wanting to be loved, I don't need to pray for a person to come into my life. I just have to pray to feel loved. And in that prayer is the automatic assumption that the right person will knock on my door, basically. Not probably literally, but the right person will come into my life to assist me in feeling loved. If I want money, I'm not going to go out and play the lottery, and all the time, because I think that's the only way God can deliver that. The truth is that God is our source and our supply. And the lottery or Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes or your paycheck or a trust fund or an investment fund, all of those are avenues through which God delivers our prosperity to us, since it is our source and supply. So if what I want is the security of knowing that money is not an issue, if what I want is to experience the freedom of having money, then that's what I want to work on. And then just let the funds come in however they want to come in. Stop trying to control or micromanage God in the way that it appears. So this week, will you do that with me? Will you focus your attention on what you would like to see and an appreciation of what you already see in your life? Will you stop comparing yourself to others and really understand that the grass is not always greener on the other side? It is green right where you are. Let go of control. Focus on your good. Believe that it's possible and work on those belief systems. Look in the mirror and tell yourself one beautiful thing that you love about yourself. Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. Right now, I just turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life that is God. That infinite power, that infinite love, that infinite life flows through all of it. As it flows through me. For it is who and what I am, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is where I find myself in the midst of God. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that is God flowing through me. It flows through the team as well. For this team that God has provided me is so perfectly matched to the purpose and the function at hand. I know for Tina and for Faith and for Oz and for Karen and for Elaine, that we are all one in that infinite power, that infinite presence of God, and that ancient wisdom of the ages flows through all of us so perfectly for us to do what must be done by us. I know that same truth be so for everyone who is here, whether that's in real time or later on. For we are absolutely connected by it through it. There's no place where one leaves off and the other begins. There's only that unbroken unity of all life that flows through each of us. And so I bless this week with that awareness of our connection and our perfection and the life that flows through us being as perfect as the life that flows through all of life. I know for us that ability to let go and let God fill in the blanks, to work on our subjective mind, to teach our subjective mind so that it is enhanced by the experiences we've had. I bless this week with all of those experiences just rising up and filling in to our consciousness. As I bless every name that is in the ministry of prayer this morning, because I do know that whatever situation they're experiencing, God is the answer. But underneath it all, surrounding and enfolding them, is that powerful presence of God. So right now, I pull back the veil and reveal this. I receive it in their names as good and very good. I claim it for them. My heart just fills with gratitude to know this is so, to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice, the spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Faith. So this is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to feel the gratitude and share your gratitude, share your blessings for that which you have received in the physical realm, or maybe something that you have created in the mind of God and have not yet experienced in the physical realm. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org. And there you're going to find about 2/3 down the page an offering affirmation that I'm going to have you say with me. And then underneath that is a Contribute Now button. And I just want to say something real quick about Contribute Now, because we don't have a facility, so you're not paying for rent and utilities and all the usual stuff that you have to pay for in a church when you're donating. Instead, what you're donating to is our vision, which is that of a healed world globally. And our mission to get there is to heal the world one person at a time. And so it does take money to market. We're already in several markets. We're in the Netherlands, which is Holland, the UK, which is England, Germany, the Philippines, and India. But I'd really like to see us be totally global, to encompass all of the countries. I know there's a lot of countries right now that could use something like this. And so it takes money to market that, unfortunately. So what you are contributing to is our mission that takes us to our vision. So right now, I'm going to ask you to just go to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, whether you're here in real time or later on, please say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that Contribute Now button and contribute to our mission to get us to our vision of a healed world globally. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast that serve as the healing arm of our church. We call our practitioners the God Squad. And they perform 3 different functions or serve in 3 different ways in our church. The first way is that if you would like prayer for something, you put it in the comments section, and they will pray every day for a week on those prayer requests. If you don't want it to be public, just DM Faith, and she'll make sure the God Squad gets the prayer request. The second way that our practitioners serve is they provide spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. So basically, you get on our website, figure out who you connect up with, get onto Facebook and message them and let them know that you would like an appointment for spiritual guidance. They will let you know how to pay for it. I don't get involved in any of that. That is strictly their business. Each practitioner has their own business. Some use PayPal, some Venmo, some Cash App, some Wise, Zelle, I think. And so they will let you know how to pay for it, and then they will reach out to you by video chat at the appointed time. All right. And then the third way that our practitioners serve the church, which is almost every week, is Oz. He's the only really active practitioner we have right now. So, and that is practitioner of the day. And he does the invocation, he does the benediction, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle, which is not a time for counseling. It's just a time where you can share with him what situation you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And you reach out to him by video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, it probably means he's on with someone else. And so try back a little bit later. And it looks like we just lost him to do the benediction. I know we're having some audio difficulties or technical difficulties this morning. I'm just not sure what's going on, but I'll just keep going and hopefully he'll come back for that. All right. Next is Brooks and Bailey. Brooks and Bailey has all kinds of, I just posted something or shared something that was a post from them about these wire cages for stones that they're working on for pendants. I think they're really cool. But anyway, they have mala beads in necklaces and in bracelets. The mala beads have 108 beads, so they're perfect for your affirmations because you can count them off by moving one bead at a time like the Hindus and the Buddhists do. Excuse me. The bracelets have 54. So either way, you're getting 100 in a day. If you use 2 bracelets or one, or you use the bracelets twice, blah, or you use the necklace once, you're doing the 100 times a day that I recommend you do your affirmations. So this necklace is amethyst is $60, but they have all kinds of gemstones, $30 and up. And I think the bracelets are like 20 or 25. I'm not sure exactly, but anyway. And like I said, they have all kinds of other jewelry They have these wonderful bracelets that have this, like, it's a circle with a bar that goes through it. So it never, I think I've had it 4 years and it only has dropped off my wrist once. And that's like a record for me because I lose bracelets really, really quickly. All right. So they are, let me get to that here. I was having technical difficulty earlier, so things were popping off. Okay. You can reach them through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail or on their Facebook page. All of the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, and that's really a worthy cause. So definitely check these ladies out. They're awesome. We have an Etsy store by Angel Renee where she has intention candles to help you focus on your intention, and a tea bag that you put in your bath that has aromatic herbs that help you focus on your intention as well. So check her Etsy store out. We like to support those who support us. And so go to Reverend Fairy Lane Silver's website. If you enjoyed any of the music last week or any of the other times we've done her music, definitely check her out. She can't update her website to tell you how to pay for it. So she travels around the country singing, and she always carries the CDs in the trunk of her car. So you reach out to her, tell her which CD you want to purchase, and she'll tell you how to pay for it. And then she always sends out those CDs like the next day. She's really good about that. So definitely go check out her website, as well as Karen Drucker. Karen Drucker, her website works perfectly, and you can buy it by the song, by the CD, by the songbook. She has karaoke files. Some of the songbooks have American Sign Language in them in case you want to learn how to sign a song. But if you like the music that we do each Sunday and you like the songs that she has, our favorites are the Songs of Spirit. Those are the chant CDs, but she also has music CDs. Like Lighten Up is one of her song CDs. Well, it's one of her songs that's on a song CD. Let's put it that way. Do you know what CD it is? Hey?
It should be the Beloved.
Beloved. Okay. That's a really good one. I like Beloved quite a bit. Anyway, we love to support these ladies because without them, we could not do music on Sunday morning, so we appreciate them. Then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. There you're going to find pictures of picnics and events that we've had at the church so you can get to know your spiritual family. There are some video sermons. I have not been keeping up on that, and we are in the process of redoing the website. And to be honest with you, at the moment, that's not our priority. With Lynn passing away, there's so many things that have to be done. But I do promise that we will get back to that. In the meantime, you can get the video sermons on YouTube and the audio sermons from years prior on SoundCloud under S. Tucker. So you can see I keep those updated because it's really easy to upload those. It's a lot harder to get them onto the website. So for right now, just go to SoundCloud or YouTube and get those videos. All right. Without further ado, here is Oz to pray us out. You're muted.
Right here, right now, God's presence is manifesting in us, as us, and all around us. All we see and all we do is led by that greater purpose, that greater life that is God itself. I give thanks that this is so, and I let it be, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you all for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We are blessed that you were here with us. Join us next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Until then, stay safe. We love you. Bye.